This is a follow-up to my original Soulsborne Callbacks and Nightreign video, addressing callbacks that were added later on with the Everdark Sovereigns. Here's the original video if you want to watch that first, or after this video is done. Everdark Dark Drift has an attack where he rains down loads of magic arrows from the sky, which is extremely reminiscent to a similar attack Aldrich has in Dark Souls 3, both having tracking elements to them as well. This is an Elden Ring similarity, which I'm only pointing out since it's not a direct asset reuse from that game, like the rest of Nightreign, perhaps just a reference point. But the attack where Fulgur leaps into the air and attacks with a magic bow reminds me of Lurida's similar attack. Everdark Sentient Pest has a reviving mechanic for the fallen bosses, similar to previous examples in the series, such as Throne Watcher and Defender, Lothric and Lorien, perhaps Witches of Hemwick, and even Godskin Duo. Everdark Augur calls back very directly to both Storm King from Demon Souls and Yorm from Dark Souls 3 by having a special weapon called the Storm Ruler that is used to attack the boss that's very difficult to kill otherwise. Maris acts sort of as a blend of the two fights, by Maris being a flying entity that is otherwise difficult or impossible to hit, just like Storm King, and similar to Yorm, in that the Storm Ruler has to be charged for the strongest attack. There's also similarities to Rykard by having more options to attack than just one form, like the previous examples had. Everdark Libera has the ability to summon NPC invader type enemies during the fight, in a similar way that Looking Glass Knight was able to in Dark Souls 2, though that one would summon actually available players if you were online. Before finishing the video, here's a few entries that I missed in the original video that were either pointed out to me or that I thought of later. Here's a credit to those who brought it to my attention. Executor's armor and general samurai aesthetic feels very reminiscent of Sir Alone from the Dark Souls 2 DLC. The way he and some of the other characters hold katanas, be it while idle or running, is similar to how your character holds it in Demon Souls, and later in Dark Souls 2. The Revenant's white wedding dress design also seems very similar to Queen Yharnam's from Bloodborne, who may also be a ghostly figure. The slow healing effect you can get as a personal buff kind of turns your Crimson Flask into a similar version as Dark Souls 2's Estus Flask. It's not hard to feel like the cord's end is possibly an umbilical cord, or two of them, at least a soft reference to them, making the connection to Bloodborne's umbilical cords obvious. Noster being a magic elemental moth makes it feel like it could possibly be inspired by the Moonlight Butterfly from Dark Souls 1. If you get poisoned during the Sentient Pest fight, you will have a bug egg attached to you, which will eventually grow to a worm that eats away at you, which is similar to how you can grow a parasitic worm in Dark Souls 1. Fulgur's helmet design and the Dark Abyssal arm both have similarities to Gundyr from Dark Souls 3. Hailstorm might act as more than just a reference to the Moonlight Sword, having a similar theme to Solo Cinder, where it carries weapons from a few builds you can have in the previous games, and a sword that looks similar to Gale's Executioner's sword from Dark Souls 3. Now, this is Soulsborne Callbacks and Nightreign obviously, but there was a lot of demand for me to address this, so as a bonus for y'all, here's more. The Walder's ultimate art is also apparently a 1-to-1 animation and attack to the PB-003M Ashmead, also known as Pile Bunker, from Armored Core 6, and even some entries prior to that, possibly preceding the Stake Driver from Bloodborne, but I've yet to play any of the Armored Core games, so I'm just taking y'all's word for it. And on a similar note, Duchess is apparently very similar to a character named Yulia from FromSoft's VR game Dorosine, who has a similar design, also has a locket or pocket watch, and some slight time travel themes and mechanics, like Duchess's restage.